26, 26, 26, 26, 26, 26. Okay, so that's funny because I love throwing people off guard. I think I kind of thrive, kind of like Lydia Lunch, who I'm telling you before I saw her that day, myself, Ashley, and I, right? You, Ashley, and 26 met. I didn't know who Lydia Lunch was, but I definitely related with the way she gets high off of provoking people and making them feel uncomfortable, and I feel like that's something that I've been really good at my whole life. Maybe it was inadvertent for a long time until I figured it out. But I'm not sure I'm as good at being the one who's being taken off guard. So that would be interesting. Definitely a test in trusting oneself, less than trusting you guys. Why would I trust you guys? I have to trust myself enough to go into this and say, all right, I'll answer whatever secret question. Right. So, like, okay. Question. I'm an uneducated woman. I didn't go to high school. I didn't go to college. I don't know much about the first time I ever in my whole life spoke about politics, other than that I knew that my parents were more conservative than they weren't, was in 2020, in which case I went against the grain and fought with a lot of people in Los Angeles. And so that'd be interesting, like if you just randomly asked, like, so what's your take on Yemen or Syria? And I'd be like, oh, so what happens then? Like, how do you navigate a situation and say the person who's talking has no idea as to what you're talking about? I mean, and they feel stupid. So is that kind of part of it? Because I'd like to watch someone go through.
Like, get the woo!
Well, I mean, we can't do that on our own, though. We need help from the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that they're going to want to watch.
We're going to tell them that we're going to start interviewing people.
We are going to start interviewing people.
But we're going to talk about... Oh, are you recording it now? No.
We've been recording. Aww. We're recording on audio. We're recording on all 3 cameras.
I can't say it for my favorite song.
What's your favorite song?
It was from that meme.
I'm going to sing you a really sweet song all about the letter N.
Oh, the letter N?
The letter N.
All got along, they probably got me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear
Students were caught handing out passes that were printed out. They look like this, supposedly giving them permission to use the N-word.
What is this?
That's a great question.
I mean, it really is. Like, so what's raw dog news? I mean, maybe we should talk about the origins of where that even came from.
Raw dog news.
What raw dog, like?
Well, there actually is an original background with how you and I came up with Raw Dog News back in the year 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We were both in situations where we both had to leave because of safety reasons in COVID. It was the very beginning.
Leave work.
We had to leave our... Yeah, both of us were freaking out. I was doing really stupid... Well, yeah, a little bit. Well, it's great because once both of my televisions broke, I stopped freaking out. It was great. Just stop watching the news. Stop watching the news. All we did was complain to each other about the news and, But no matter what channel you go to, it has an agenda. You really can't believe anybody. It was driving us crazy, and the whole pandemic was getting into our heads. So at the time, both of us had to, I think you before me, because I started at home but then couldn't. Both of us had to rearrange, and then, what do you know, we were part of the numbers in the not working Rona, COVID, pandemic people.
Getting back to the whole reason it's raw dog.
Why?
Is because every day at some point, one of us would, in some kind of panic, call the other one and say "Oh, I'm a raw dog phone call," out of nowhere.
Yeah, raw dog means improvised. A lot of people just know the word raw dog and I actually have some relatives who at first were like, Ashley, why are you attached to something that says raw dog? I know what that means. Because you're thinking about the rap videos and the whole shit. What the whole term raw dog has,
well, you know what it means.
Metamorphosized into means
like a surprise.
Slapdash impromptu improvised. Think about this. Improvise raw dog. So improvise if somebody has an idea, they want to call. Is there an appointment for a call, or is it a raw dog phone call?
Right.
And
where you just slipping right in.
Yeah, and so we thought of all these ideas to build a business during COVID and get to these small businesses. And now, unfortunately, the reason why we're doing other things now and thought of a podcast is because, unfortunately, most of those small businesses are done now because of
it's true. There's
COVID,
so many...
and China and the government and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we were at the time going to call it Raw Dog HR LLC. And so that's what led to us thinking, oh, fuck it. Let's do a podcast, talk about issues. That's why we sometimes talk about the issues that employees have, going back to work, being online with EDD.
At first, they transferred us to a Spanish line. We waited for about an hour. A woman answered in Spanish. We said, no, we speak English. Then in English, she replies to us, oh, I'm transferring you to the English line. Flicks us back over to the back of the line, where a prompter bot tells us you have a 0-minute wait time. Since that prompter has told us it's a 0-minute wait time, we have once again been on hold for another hour and a half.
0-minute wait time. So what we're looking at now in hold time is 1 hour and 40 minutes.
We're having a great morning at Raw Dog News.
How to talk to your manager.
Right.
And that's where all that stuff came about. Now we're trying to go ham and interview all kinds of crazy people, and we have information about that coming up as well.
Yeah. So basically the format of the show that she's talking about is we want to interview any variety of interesting people, find out about all of the cool stuff that you do.
If you have things on Amazon, if you have things on Patreon,
right.
If you have things that you know what I mean?
Yeah, we want to publicize what you're doing and how you're a great person and all of that stuff and all of the cool things you're doing for other people and how nice you are. And then the idea is to then Ashley and I will have a secret topic that we will, after, we're done talking about all your cool stuff. We have a raw dog topic that we will present, and then, we can all talk about, that idea or that thing or that person or whatever, or that movement.
That's going to be this is going to turn into a Howard Stern type of thing where
we have
to screen people calling in. We've already had our first calls from dear friends of mine and maybe a couple others.
Oh, the Mexico trip one.
Yeah, that's a dear friend of mine, and we're not going to say his name. He's a non. He's a very important guy with a very important job.
That was the cocaine Mexico trip, right?
There was a cocaine Mexico trip call in.
Yeah.
With a lot of stories.
That was another, I think there was a UFO voicemail from, I think it was from Joe.
You're going to cut that no last name for Joe.
No, Joe Blow.
Joe Blow. Joe UFO.
Hey. So he called in and he had his opinion on UFOs and what all of that and what they might be thinking about us.
TIE fighters! Mon Mothma's back!
Princess Leia! Admiral Akbar!
Oh, no, that was somebody else. It was a different Mon Calamari.
Oh, I thought they cast the same actor and he just gained a bunch of weight between the last film and this one.
Oh, no, Admiral Akbar's not a real...
Because everyone thinks of the government as saying there's no UFOs and hiding it, but you guys were basically touching on how the government talks about UFOs, but they're actually not there.
Well, it's again, like anything else, it's really a group of people taking advantage of some program that the government has. Like, it's a research grant. So basically, the federal government will give you millions of dollars because you say you want to investigate UFOs.
That we're all recording the same thing at the same time, at the same place, under the same circumstances. So these clearly weren't weather anomalies. These weren't artifacts of the camera. These were real, indeed, objects, and they were in our controlled airspace, and we did not know what they were. The government has spent decades looking into this topic through efforts such as Project Blue Book and ATIP and the UAP Task Force and others. And the fact that it is finally having an open conversation despite decades of denial, I think is a tremendous step forward. It's not nearly enough, however, because it is partial transparency, although better than no transparency, is still not complete transparency.
And then you say, oh, look, we have this evidence and that evidence. And it really ultimately doesn't matter that it kind of adds up to nothing. Like
But that's a microcosm of everything. Nothing matters because everything adds up to nothing.
It's a zero-sum game. That's what that's called.
There's always a block. There's always another source, and everything adds up to nothing. So everything that we could be talking about, discussing, can be real and not real. And nothing adds up to anything because it all depends on you and what you believe, and that is what is real. What you believe is real, just like a religion, and that's it. That's how you die. That's how we all die.
I feel like I just got down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. We don't want to do super rabbit hole right now, or do we?
Bunny rabbit insane.
It's true though. I mean, everything's your own reality.
Oh, so let's see what. This is something we were talking about the other day. Can questions be offensive? Right. The idea that if you're sincerely asking a real question and you like to really get information from somebody else, can that ever be really offensive? Because
well, we already know as far as HR rules and employment law from the work that we have done at starting our HR business.
Like, what would be an example of like an offensive question?
A legally offensive question, or a question that was offensive to a person,
or just like anything. Like, hey, would it be reasonable or
asking if you're married, asking what your religion is? That's all for jobs.
What if I just walked up to someone on the street and asked her what her bra size was?
Then that's a personal question.
But is it offensive?
It depends on the person. It could be it could be offensive to a wide range of people, and then there's a range of people where they don't give a shit, or they think you're funny.
So no. This is kind of getting to the point. So if the offense depends on who gets the question,
yeah.
Like this person is cool. Like
if you're interviewing
for whatever reason,
that's offensive.
For whatever reason, this particular person says, "Oh, that's fine. I'd be happy to tell you. No offense taken." Like the other person is about ready to punch me in the face.
Right.
So that means there's the question. Is it
if you're interviewing someone as an employer, you get sued. Then you can deal with employment law. But that's not happening because people are usually not stupid enough to ask questions like that in an interview.
Right.
Or are they?
Those
I don't know.
Well, no. Well, that's legally mandated. Like that. You can't ask that kind of question in a job interview.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I'm just kind of curious, like, as a concept, can a statement can be offensive, right? Like, there's a period at
all
the end
the
of that
time.
sentence.
All the cancel culture gods, all the cancel culture leprechauns say that any statements can always be considered.
Well, because it's representing what you believe, I guess, right? You're saying this is true. Period. That's what I think. But a question is saying, I don't know what I believe, or I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
How is that offensive? Inappropriate.
What's the difference between inappropriate and offensive? Inappropriate happens all the time, but also who considers what inappropriate? If everybody, and the law of attraction rules say this too, if everybody's creating their own reality,
right,
then what's offensive, what's inappropriate? A lot of things are offensive or inappropriate, but different for every single human.
And at different times even, too.
Yeah. And the timing. Timing, like,
timing is everything, right?
People underestimate timing.
Oh, man.
The timing of, like, even if you're, like, if a certain of any type of person asks you a certain thing in one context, in one area, at one certain timing, or if they ask you when something completely different is happening in another timing, that's a huge difference and what could be considered offensive.
Very true. The other thing that, like, the whole, like, raw dog, right? So, but what's the news part? Like, raw dog news.
Yeah, because people, apparently in 2020, apparently in for a bunch of years now, apparently everybody gets to think that they're the news and they're a news source. Right. So people on YouTube or Facebook activists, they all think they're a news source now because they do research. So, we have our news, which really is the news about the commentary and thoughts and feelings of all of you people who are exactly us.
Right, because, we just, like anybody, we don't trust what the media is presenting to us on a regular basis. Like, we can't tell from one story to the next if that's true or not. Anything. Or like,
it only matters who funds someone or who has an agenda to, like.
Yeah, but you don't know. You can't. It's hard to tell. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't just know who's funding something, like, because they're not going to tell you.
Right, especially if it's controversial. So people only hear about the leaked, big, rich fundings of, this person is funding that or that company, so their agenda's this or they're biased against this. What none of us are hearing about is the small down low funding that people are doing to fund shit that you think is real on the internet. Someone else is funding it.
Right.
But they're not going to tell you about it because they care. They're not doing it for publicity because they're not a rich or Hollywood person. They're funding it because they're, like, going ham on the shit.
Yeah, because it's benefiting them, right?
For them.
Yes.
It's what they believe in. It's their whole thing. Everyone believes in their own thing. It's what everyone believes in. That's their thing. And they're funding it, but they're not telling y'all about it. And that's it.
Right. So she's exactly right. It's the name of the show is about looking at the news in a more critical way and really waiting for more information before you decide that, that's true or right or correct or because there's always money behind whatever story is being promoted, every time.
Right.
You can't have a news story without money. Someone's got to be paying the reporter. Someone's got to be paying.
You can have art without money. You can blow up in other ways without money, with talent, manifestation, all of that stuff. But as far as news goes, and the whole what gets blasted out and what doesn't, you have no control over that.
Right. It's true.
We have a new 26-year-old female correspondent.
Yeah, that's all we're going to say.
Her name is 26.
26.
That's what we're going to find out. To be continued. Also,
right.
I am going to be giving my very first interview as an interviewer.
Right.
Live, real soon. We're waiting on
this schedule confirmation.
We're waiting on a schedule confirmation. People have stuff and jobs and things.
Did we mention that we also might want to interview you?
We might want to interview you. If you can come to us, we have to give them a way to talk to us. That's the thing. We're like, are we giving our last names? Do we? Well, tell
no. We have a phone number.
We have a phone
Beverly
number.
Hills.
Can they text the phone number?
Yes.
Because I know that a lot of people don't like talking on the phone.
You can text the phone number.
So, you guys, you can text this phone number.
Beverly Hills.
And if you know us on social media, should I give, no.
Okay, should we give the number out?
We'll give the number out. Text the number.
No, okay,
if you know us, you can DM us.
No, but we're going to give out the number right now.
Yes.
Ready?
Yep.
Beverly
Hills.
424 666. That's real.
That's a real number.
10.
They're not going to believe it because of the... You guys, this is a real number.
Beverly Hills, 424 666 1036. Raw Dog News hotline. You can text, you can call, you can leave
Let's say
voicemail.
you're always supposed to say it a second time.
Oh, that's
the
right.
The number.
Oh, Beverly Hills, 424 666 1036. You can text. You can leave
call.
A voicemail. If we're recording, we might pick up the phone, which is pretty exciting.
And if you know us, you could DM us, message us through other outlets for now. We have our own page.
You can schedule if you have something you want to promote. You're doing something really cool. You're a really bad person.
You might want to be interviewed, or if you're like a crazy Howard Stern person, come to us.
If you think that you could measure up to the Whack Pack, if you have that kind of vibe, we want to talk to you. Absolutely.
Who's the Whack Pack?
Howard Stern's little crew. You know, of all the cast of characters.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know the name.
You brought it up.
I just didn't know the name ever.
The Whack Pack.
I just thought those were Howard Stern people.
Yeah, they had a name, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Howard Stern people.
So,
that's how a lot of people who you guys follow on YouTube did something.
True. Okay, so there's that. There are... Oh, okay, so... People really don't know about... Okay, it's a sensitive issue, okay, or topic. Michael Jackson.
Oh, I don't feel good.
Mr. Jackson, I am so very glad you are finally awake.
Oh, hold on. Hee-haw.
Mr. Jackson, I have to tell you that yesterday around 4 p.m., some parents came by with their sick children and left them.
Like clockwork. Wait, what?
Sir, there are 35 children downstairs.
What? Holy shit, the mother.
Were we really going to talk about Michael? So, here's the thing.
Well, kind of.
So, I was a diehard my whole life. Until in my past several... I'm going to be honest. Since I had since I had a son who turned into like a little child, baby, I don't care. He turned into a little child, my son, I started ghosting it, to be honest. And I think that had a big impact on it. But I was such a big, diehard Michael Jackson fan that I was part of the Michael Jackson fan club and would send pictures that he fake signed back to me in this Neverland Ranch.
Right. And our friend Alexi, he was good friends with a guy named Ruben. Ruben happened to have gotten a job as, it's amazing, Michael Jackson's butler for about the last, I think, 2 years of his life.
Around the time where Michael was doing those reality shows where he'd be all pilled out and be like, just buy it, buy all this stuff.
Well, he was getting ready to do his last big tour, and this is it, right?
Yeah.
So Alexi and I created a show. It's stop motion animation, and it's called The Last Days of Mike Jamone. And I mean, no one knows about it. It's this hidden thing. It's on another channel. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at this animated series that I made a couple years ago.
Paris, are you watching the Kardashians again? I told you not to watch them.
Hey, Dad. How are you?
I'm tired, and my scalp is hurting. Plus, I can't find my 1988 collector Freddy Krueger mask.
Hey, Dad. Some kids at school were bullying me, and I'm kind of in a jam.
Look, listen. Why? You should tell them it ain't too hard to jam.
They keep saying I'm not black.
Well, what did you tell him?
I said I am black, but they kept saying you're white. I don't know.
Look, listen, Paris. I ain't got time for this. Or you. I gotta practice and get back to sleep, 'cause...
That'll be fun.
That'll be super fun. I'm pretty stoked for that.
So, okay, let's see. Fake vaccine cards. I think that's really like, we're going to talk about fake vaccine cards.
We were just going to mention it.
They're illegal.
Yeah, so this is a raw dog news just in. I've had a couple friends, anon, tell me that they've recently been, who have not been vaccinated yet. One of them is anti. The other one is now getting it, but some people are getting it but are scared at first, whatever. Both of these friends of mine were recently offered a fake vaccine card to pay them money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that led us to think that we should alert about that, which is that it was pretty fucking stupid that when the government said, oh, everyone will have a vaccine passport, but it will all be on paper. All you have to do is Photoshop it and put it in the FedEx. And then there are people who believe in, or they had a family member die, right, or get really sick, mm-hmm, or they're pro good for whatever, mm-hmm, and they're like, then that part of them is like, ooh, shit, no, then I would be contributing to a thing. So that's turned into a whole thing.
Right. What I found out is that the illegal part of the vaccine card is the copying official government seals, like the CDC seal and any official government emblem. That's the illegal part.
Well, but what type of trouble would that get somebody in who's doing a fake vaccine card? I'm making eye contact into the...
Up to 5 years in prison.
Oh, up to 5 years in prison.
But remember, the crime, though, is copying the government emblem.
So you could get an attorney or something.
Now,
no.
if you made,
if you have a bunch, if you make $1 bajillion, if you're that well off, you wouldn't even fucking try to hawk one of these. So think about that.
Right,
if you already have or make money, who the fuck would do that?
Okay, so I think our final take on fake vaccine cards is don't buy them because
and just get the Bill microchip. Bill Gates trip. Just get the Bill microchip Gates. Yeah. Monkeypox, Delta COVID. Implants.
There you go.
And aliens will eventually marry us. It's going to be good.
Right. I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Sure. We're also, let's see. Oh, yes.
I have to go take my dog to the vet after this. This is fun.
Okay. Here's some other notes that are important. Let's see. It says, thawed out social life. Huh. Maybe, almost.
Thought or thawed, like a frozen body part.
Like a frozen slut? A thought.
Ew!
Thought slut?
Like a cold Russian hooker or something?
Hugs and kisses, extreme paranoia.
Yeah. That's just Jewish people like me.
And for some reason I wrote down Michael Cera as Wolverine.
Raw Dog News.
I don't know. See, he made a note for the news.